gaming morning to you. Whether you're tossing dice, flipping pages, stroking that brush, or mashing on them buttons, we have your six on all things gaming. My name is Loki, Michael Smith, and to my right now,
I'm Eddie.
and this is Basement Quest. And how are you people doing today? Because we're doing fantastic on this Saturday.
I'm doing great, and I'm really loving the new digs.
I love it. I love the setup, man. It's nice. It's the flames back here. It's nice against my back. It's keeping me warm. You know.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
You got no hair to burn.
That's the best part. Yeah. So I ain't got to worry about that stuff.
I'm screwed.
You're gonna go up like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like MJ in this. Too soon?
No, come on, man. That's been a long time. That was Pepsi, 80s. Fuck. So, we're gonna bring you today one of my personal favorite worlds ever. It's one of the things that really got me into, I guess, anything. Comic books, man. The first time I think the first comic I ever picked up was a Thor, and I didn't know what to take. I didn't know what to expect, and my buddy took me into this comic book place, and then all of a sudden it was like all these titles. Spider-Man became my very first one that I really started getting into at the time. There was like Spectacular Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man.
I think for me it was, and this is dating myself, it was reruns of that 70s TV show with Spider-Man. And then you had Spider-Man as Amazing Friends. I think that was probably my first.
Oh, the Spider-Man and Amazing Friends was a great, man.
I think that was the first time really that...
it was a Firestar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made up just for the show.
Because Starfire is DC and Firestar. No, Firestar is DC.
Well, I think she was a combination of like the Human Torch.
Yeah.
Because they wanted a female superhero added to the bunch. So they kind of made her up. There wasn't really a fire-throwing female at the time. They would eventually give her own comic. I think she's in the comics now, but she was like made up just for the show, just like Harley Quinn was made up for Batman.
Yeah, and then they turn around and say that there was always Harley Quinns there.
Yeah, she was a bit player, got promoted.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, before we get into the meat potatoes, go ahead and drop them comments of what comic book was your absolute favorite. One of your favorite artists, maybe even storylines or something like that. I'll tell you, one of as I became more into comics, and I know you've seen him too. I think it was Michael Joseph Linzer. He did these the Cry for Dawn and a few other ones.
Favorites.
The art in there is so raw, it's pencil, it's all black and white, and it's beautiful. He's an incredible artist, and I think that was my first time of really getting into, like, say, a darker story. And this is in the '90s, early '90s. I'm in high school at this point. My buddy Don was big into that.
That was when the black and white comic was exploding.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the best comics were in black and white, and
TMNT.
That's how it started.
Those were beautiful.
Cry for Dawn, like if you're a big Twilight Zone, Outer Limits fan like I was, Cry for Dawn was like this is what shtick. Twilight Zone if it was on cable back then.
That's your shtick.
And it's funny the Outer Limits show that was on Showtime for years, I think, tapped into a lot of Cry for Dawn because it's a little more raw, a little more edgy, a lot more eroticism to it.
Exactly.
And the covers of those books were just out of this world.
They were absolutely beautiful. Like I said, Dawn, the character itself, she was just sexy, redhead, and he just put all the different armors he'd throw on her. She was always in lingerie, always put her in some kind of provocative pose with like a devil or something like that. His art, I believe it's Michael Joseph Linzer. Yeah, he was absolutely fantastic. I think you still find him on Twitter and all those other places.
If you can find those books, grab them.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, they probably aren't out. I know for a little while I was really upset. He came out with a sub one, and it was called Subtle Violence, I believe. And the story was really good, but it ended. Like he never brought it back, and it was like I hated missing that, because
I think he was a lot like I forget his name. Is it James Barr, who did The Crow?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever seen him in interviews, he's a very eccentric guy.
Right.
So
he's very Stephen King.
Right. A lot of these artists, at certain points, they just kind of like don't want to do it anymore, and they'll stop.
Yeah.
And
you might be right. I mean, I can definitely see that happening because at the time he had a whole lot going on plus the Cry for Dawn itself he was taking on, like, different artists were coming in, so the art style was changing, and he was getting a lot of feedback. And don't forget, back
There's a lot
then,
of scrutiny too,
right?
like that, like the parent groups are really coming down on those
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, comics are for kids, and these clearly weren't for kids.
Yeah. No. Oh God, no. Oh no. They definitely were not. They were. Some of those stories were downright horrifying.
Yes.
But the art, and like I said, and where he brought you, it wasn't like you said. It's not your basic Spider-Man story. It's not even Carnage wasn't as bad as, like, maybe now, maybe Carnage like in the 90s, or 2000, like 20s. I haven't picked up a Carnage comic in forever. But as far as like the symbiotes, he was like one of my favorites.
Oh, he's definitely my favorite.
He's fucking crazy, man.
I can't wait to see Woody Harrelson play Carnage.
That would be cool.
He is Carnage.
Is he going to be? Oh, he is.
I don't know if you saw the scene at the end of Venom.
Oh,
he's in prison.
Okay, that makes sense.
So Woody Harrelson is Carnage.
That's a good choice.
You know what? 10 years ago, I would have laughed at that. But seeing Woody Harrelson today,
Woody Harrelson,
there's not a role this man can't tackle.
I'll tell you
so
what,
I'm
fantastic.
Optimistic. I think
him in
Michael,
Zombieland. By the way,
Michael Keaton becoming Batman kind of broke the stigma. Bruce Willis becoming
Michael
an action
Keaton,
hero,
in my opinion, was still one of the better Vultures today.
He is.
I mean,
he is Vulture.
Yeah, they just like he's Batman. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He is symbolizes Batman. But without the comics, we don't have these iconic movies. We don't have these iconic characters. And as much as I bust on, Batman is one of the longest running, like, comics, for popularity, I would have to say, besides like Wolverine. I mean, Wolverine is just like,
characters like Batman and Wolverine, they have these die-hard cult followings.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I mean, obviously Spider-Man is Marvel's hottest property. Let's keep it real.
Yeah. And
comic-wise.
And MCU-wise, too. I mean,
now he is, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, when they threw it out there, Endgame, when he came flying out and didn't land. I don't know if you saw that in the theaters.
Oh, yeah.
But people were up on their feet fucking screaming and, clapping their faces off. Like, it was a great moment. It was an absolute great moment.
You saw the way people reacted when at one point it looked like Spider-Man was out of the MCU. Yeah. And I think the only reason they went back to the table is because clearly if we do this, people are going to lash out at both of us, Sony and Marvel. So I think that's the only reason they came to the table. Like, all right, we got to keep doing this.
Yeah, no choice, man.
And now, Sony's doing Morbius.
Which is cool.
And who's popping up in Morbius? Vulture.
Right.
Michael Keaton's come back for Vulture.
So because they have a very
now they're kind of they're part of the MCU, but not.
It's going to be interesting to see how they do Morbius because he's a vampire.
As long as,
but he's not Blade. Let's be honest, and he's not one of these Twilight guys. If you guys know the comic, he's very bat. What is it? Very batish. He's got the blue face, the long fangs, the dark hair, the longer ears. Like,
yeah. Well, as long as he does a better job than he did in Suicide Squad, that's all I ask. I'm sorry, he was terrible as a Joker.
No, he was.
I get it. I get they're trying to do their own spin on the Joker, which I don't have a problem with. But
well, no, there's always been. That's the other thing. Going right back to the comics with DC, the Joker's always you've always had. There's three types of Jokers. There's the homicidal maniac. There's the gangster, which he personified. In Suicide Squad, that was definitely the gangster Joker. And then
I think he was trying, yeah.
Right, and then you have just that. I don't want to say like the Jack Nicholson Joker. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just straight, smooth, calm, funny. The one from the original Joker there.
Caesar Romero.
Caesar, yeah, exactly.
Well, that was all slapstick mostly.
But exactly. But that's what I also got from Jack Nicholson. It's the same idea, like that.
Yeah.
That Joker was, yes, he was dangerous, and yes, he was deadly, and he did things, but nowhere next to the homicidal maniac of Heath Ledger. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And definitely not the gangster appeal that the one from Suicide. What's his face?
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto did. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've always
Which I don't mind him. I think like you said, I think he's one of those eccentric guys. You know what I'm saying?
I've always said if you put aside the Red Hood stuff, there's like three type of Jokers. There's like the Killing Joker.
Yeah.
There's the Long Halloween Joker.
Yes.
And there's the Dark Knight Returns Joker. So there's like 3 types of Jokers, and I've always said Jack Nicholson was more like I want to say the Long Halloween.
Yeah.
And Heath Ledger was more like the Killing Joke.
Oh, no, definitely. Yes. I definitely felt that one.
And Jared Leto is, I don't know what the fuck that was.
That's the gangsta, I'm telling you.
But I haven't seen the Joker movie.
For a little while. I haven't either. But I hear that's pretty fucking...
I've heard it's great on its own, which is fine.
Hey, that's fine, but it's still... They're still going to incorporate it, though. I guess he is still...
I guess they talked him into it.
Yeah.
I guess when the royalties start running in, your integrity goes out the window.
It's funny. Funny you say that. We were playing this Phantasy Star Online 2, the beta thing last night, and it was so cram-packed last night that
I know. I saw the text messages still downloading.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was bad. It was like going back and forth, and we were getting booted left and right. So we're just bringing up small conversation. And one of the things that I knew and we brought up was Chris Evans didn't want to be Captain America.
No. Well, he had that bad experience on Fantastic Four.
Right,
so
exactly.
Like
and he didn't he didn't want to go back to it. And it was actually Robert Downey Jr. that went to him and said, "Look, you don't want to miss out on this. This is a gravy train." And Chris Evans was quoted as saying to one of his buddies at the time, "If this movie does great, I'm fucked. If this movie does bad, I'm fucked." But it's that same thing, like when you own something like that, when you get that character and it becomes, iconic for you, you can't beat that. You know what I'm saying? And I really hope,
because it's like if it does well, I'm gonna have to ride this out to the end, and it's gonna be a long ride. And because I mean, not everybody can. You can't always replace a character and have it work out. They replaced Edward Norton and it worked out, but I didn't like Edward Norton, so that helped.
Yes, I agree.
They replaced Terrence Howard as Rhodey, and Cheadle grew on me.
He did. As a matter of fact, in Avengers,
Terrence Howard as Rhodey, but
not Endgame, but the one before that, Infinity War. He's great, dude. He's great. Even in Endgame, he's like, "Hey, star, whatever. We all about that hero life." He's a real, I like him now. But you're right. When they first traded it over, it was weird. And then the other one that people don't realize is Thor. That the handsome or whatever, that dude changed like 3 times. You don't really notice it because he's got a bit part. But in the first Thor, he's got the Warriors 3, the one that's got like the fine mustache.
Oh, one of them did change. You're right.
3 times. It's 3 different actors, but you don't notice it because literally he's got like no part. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I don't think gets enough shout out is was it Lady Sif?
Yeah. Oh my God.
No, I don't think she gets enough credit.
She's fantastic, man. She looks in that armor. I mean, yeah, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's Xena 5.0." No, do your homework, man. If you know
Xena is Lady Sif.
There you go. I mean, the only difference is, Xena uses the chakra thing, whatever, and Sif uses whatever the fuck is out.
I mean, here's the thing too. Like the actress who plays her, the name escapes me. I think it's Jamie something. She actually had her own TV show, and she was still coming back for little bit parts in the Thor movies. So, that's dedication right there.
Right, so, exactly. Plus, how
like maybe 5 minutes of screen time total. But
yeah, the thing is the thing about the MCU, the DCU, it's brought back in a fiction for comic books again. Like comic books for the longest time, they just were losing their value. Like people didn't care about them. They didn't give a rat's ass about them. And then all of a sudden, Iron Man started flying across your screen. And this was a big thing. And now people were asking questions. You know what I'm saying? I'll never forget, like, we walked out of Iron Man, and my kids are really little at this time. And they just wanted the backstory. They wanted to know who was out there, who's connected with them, what's coming next, who was that at the end. It was... And all of a sudden now, all us comic book gurus, that we were the beacon for your information, and you came flocking to us, hungry for knowledge, and you didn't care where it was going. But with comics, is people don't realize it's been around for so long. This was entertainment. People would would roll to their local newsstand and pick up, the local Archie, or the local Superman. And at the time, it's like Tales of Adventure, right, or something like that. The first.
Oh, no, what were they? Amazing Comics or something? I don't
Yeah,
know.
Action Comics.
Action Comics.
Action
That's
Comics,
right.
dude. I mean, they didn't even have their own titles or anything yet, but this is where people could literally go away, and it wasn't like reading a book, because the pages are right there, and and then the pictures are right there, and it's like you're literally watching this unfold. And 9 times out of 10, if they were a good freaking artist or a good storyteller, they left that cliffhanger, and you had to wait a whole month till the next comic book came out, and then
serials.
oh yeah, and then don't forget when they see you guys got the movie MCU, you dealt with the Infinity War throughout a couple years.
Which, if you've read that comic line, it's kind of watered down.
They were oh god, and
the X-Men were part of it. That obviously they're not in the MCU yet. Well, they are now,
Marvel was the first time ever that they ever tried to do this whole in what is it, side purchases, what do you call it, in-game purchasing. You know what I'm saying? Essentially, because that's what you did. What they did is how the Infinity War and the Gauntlet story went through the comics was, if you wanted to follow it, much like later on during the Civil War, it would start off with, say, Spider-Man. And then it would go to the X-Men. And if you wanted to follow the story, you would have to get that X-Men comic, even if you never read comics before. And how you would know was when you walked into your local comic store, right on the cover of that nice little magazine or the comic of your choice, it would say I can't even say it now. It would say Infinity War, and then it would be like 2 of, whatever at that point. So you would go in there and you're like, where's the Infinity? If you just wanted to specifically follow the Infinity, Chronicles, you would go through there and you would get every single one of these comics. And they would go from Doctor Strange,
oh yeah,
to She-Hulk, and sometimes it wouldn't even be that big of a story, but it would be enough, and they'd give you just enough background to if you pick that up, you got a little bit more information than anybody else.
See, that's where the crossover really comes from, and I don't think people realize it. They're doing it on the DC shows on
yes.
the WB right now with the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Those were crossover stories to get some of Superman's audience to read Supergirl or to the Flash, and that's how they did it.
Right.
And that's where these teams came from, like the Avengers and the Justice League. It's because they want some of that crossover appeal.
The Avengers, dude, that's the other thing. And in comic book standards, I mean, you got the East Coast Avengers, you have the West Coast Avengers, you have Avengers in general, you have the Avengers that have the Dark Avengers, you have the Avengers that have Wolverine, Spider-Man, Punisher. I mean, everybody's been a damn Avenger. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Speaking of like teams, like I gotta say, I love Dark Justice League.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely love it. I love anytime you put horror elements in a comic. So, and obviously John Constantine is an iconic character. So seeing him team up with Batman is just insane.
Yes. I love Constantine. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's unfortunately.
I'm glad they brought because I liked that TV show that was on for like one season, and they tried putting it on network TV. I thought that was a better interpretation of Constantine than that Keanu Reeves film.
Oh no, that's terrible.
I'm really happy they decided to add him to Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So now he's part of that, and so he still gets to do his thing. He was like cameoing on Arrow and stuff because
don't forget awesome. He is essentially our safe zone for if Superman does go evil, because Superman is highly.
He's vulnerable to magic.
Exactly.
It's not just kryptonite, people.
Right. Exactly. You do cheap parlor tricks on Superman, and he falls for it.
One of his biggest villains is like this little short guy, Mixelplick.
Yeah. Yes.
Who uses magic.
Yeah.
And the only way you can stop him is to get him to say his own name backwards.
Yeah.
And it's like, how the fuck do you do that?
Yeah. Exactly. And some of them, dude. I gotta go back and look at them, but I remember some of them. It was like he had him like read it. And it was like he said it backwards. Didn't realize it was his own name backwards. Like, come on, man.
Yes.
Look at that. I can see. Look it up, and I know that's Michael backwards. Like, come on. I'm not going to read that shit.
I'm sorry. That's an underrated villain. I know at one point when they were working on Superman 3, when Christopher Reeve was still alive, rest in peace.
Yes.
One of the things they kicked around was using Mixelplick. And they're like, no, that's stupid. I'm like, let's use Richard Pryor instead.
Yeah, no, that's exactly
So
it. Yeah, good choice. Good choice on there. No, you do always have like, these smaller bit, say villains that come in, and I think DC is more apt to do those guys than say Marvel is. Marvel kind of throws these little bit characters in, but then they kill them like, you know,
yes,
four issues in. They're notorious for that.
I actually I as far as villains go, I think Marvel does it a little better in the sense that I noticed with DC, the villains are more often than not, with some exception. Obviously, you have Darkseid, you have
Hmm.
Brainiac, but most of the villains are regular people
Yeah.
that go bad. So like, and so you'd have like Superman
Well, don't
versus a
forget
regular
Gorilla
guy.
Grog.
There's Gorilla Grodd, yes,
That's a gorilla that went bad,
yeah, and he's a psychic.
and he is pretty badass. Like,
Yeah, I want to know who got drunk at that table. It's like we got a gorilla, and he's gonna be psychic, and he wants to turn everybody into gorillas.
and the mindless apes that follow his lead and go.
That's a great idea.
Killer
Write that
Croc.
down.
I think Killer.
Oh, Killer Croc.
And then you got King Shark. Is it King Mako? King Shark, right? Yeah, King
Yeah.
Shark. So
Who
he's
I think looks great on the TV shows. I don't know if you've seen him. Pop up.
yes,
He looks pretty good.
dude. They did. Yeah, some of actually, I do got to. I think the TV show, and I think we hit on it last couple episodes ago on how the DC cartoon itself just knocks it out of the park.
Cartoon and the Arrowverse is really good.
They-
I haven't
yes.
seen the DC shows like Titan and stuff because I don't have that.
And I'm a huge fan of Deathstroke too, by the way. And I think Joe Manganiello,
Joe Manganiello.
Manganiello,
Also an avid D&D player.
and also sold his soul for that beer there. That Death
Actually,
beer.
funny side note, watching that show You on Netflix with Amy, and there's a character played by the comedian Chris D'Elia, and there's a scene where he goes, like, I'm busy, I gotta go. I'm playing D&D at Joe Manganiello's house. I'm like, yes!
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
That's how
great.
you do it right there, man.
Have you seen his basement?
Yeah.
Joe Manganiello, like it was a wine cellar, and his wife let him convert it to a D&D room.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to play with Joe Manganiello.
No, absolutely. Well, we've always said that. I mean, if money was not an option, let me tell you, my freaking setup would be absolutely fantastic.
To have
here.
servants dressed up as like ogres and stuff.
That would be, yeah,
So
fucking
cool.
high elves. Go get me a beer, high elf. Don't you bitch at me. I know, Elvin. Get out of here. But no, heading back to the comics. What was one of the ones that you really growing up as a child really not child, let's say teen, when you could really walk in yourself and just kind of look around, just go and grab. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I didn't really even start reading the comics till I was a teen, because obviously for me it started, like I said, there was those TV shows, Bill Bixby being the Hulk and stuff. And I didn't actually really start picking up comics because my cousin collected them. So I started reading a lot of his because he said, read the books. The books are like so much better than those movies. And so I'd read a little Superman, a lot of Marvel because he was a big Marvel fan.
Right.
But the books that I really liked was it started with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Mhm.
which we talked about before. It was gritty. It was raw. I'd known of the TV show. The TV show was around at that time.
Right.
So it was hard to pick it up. I think you were the one that really said, just pick it up and try it. Just pick it up and try it. Forget that show. Pick it up and try it.
Yes. Yes.
And I was instantly hooked. And I'm just like, why can't they do the Turtles like this?
Why indeed, my friend? Why indeed?
And it was like, and it wasn't until later when I saw that Spawn animated series. And I saw how good that was because the movie was shit.
Oh, God.
But that
they're
Spawn
terrible.
animated series was so good. I'm just like, why don't they do a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle in this style, like with the comic style and that gritty, raw.
And
feeling
yeah,
to it.
that's what I'm saying. Hell, give me the origin story all over again, and then take it over from there. I'm
The
cool with
closest
that.
we got was that first movie, which is still, I love watching it to this day. That very first movie.
Oh yes,
It's still fun. And
Yes.
it was silly enough that the kids could watch it, but it was still. This is pure New York.
yes,
You know, this is what mutant ninjas in New York would be like.
you're
So-
absolutely right.
But after like getting into blowing through the Ninja Turtles graphic novels and everything,
Which that's another big thing. He's using the term graphic novel, and what you guys realize is after a certain amount of time, comics, you get about 20 issues or so.
Well, they would take select story arcs. They would put them into books, and a lot of times they would colorize them. So the graphic novels were in color.
They looked really good.
Which was how we found out that all their headbands were red. For one, it wasn't the purple.
It wasn't the red. All red. They were all red.
They all looked alike. The only way you knew they were different was from their weapons.
Yep.
And Eastman and Laird had such a great talent for their attitude.
And was it Raphael was kind of always a little beefier, and he always had scars. Always had more scars than the rest of the.
He had a lot of scratches on the shell and stuff.
Yep.
But just the personalities, Eastman and Laird was really good at portraying that and onto the comic, so you knew exactly which one was which. Okay.
So I've loved. I mean, first of all, then the blood. First of all, when you see the black and white, I remember the first time I opened that, and I was like, "What is going on here?" You know, I mean,
they had a really good way because there was one of the best story arcs was the Return to New York story arc, which kind of, if you're familiar, takes place after the Foot Clan comes back, kicks their ass, and they see that Shredder's still alive, and they retreat to April's farm.
Right. Which the movie
took. That's why we like the movie so much.
Right.
They're like, you know what? Fuck this. Let's go to the source material. Which,
hello,
come on, guys.
Hello.
It took you that long to figure it out? Alien versus Predator, my ass.
Oh my god, yeah.
Those were some black and white comics that really
those
good.
were fantastic. The Alien series was fucking fantastic.
Which is why I don't understand why
Dark Horse.
These movies. Yeah. Why do these movies blow?
Because they're not going to the source. That what they're doing is, this is my opinion. I think what they're doing is they're taking a fan and they're just like, this guy just was like, you got to listen to me, man. You got to listen to me. And everybody was like, wow, that's a great idea. No, it's not. It's really not, people.
Obviously, it sucks for people like us because we know these stories and they're great. And obviously, the first two movies, the Ridley Scott, James Cameron mythos that was built in all the comics and all of the Predator and Alien, all that were all built off that.
Yes.
And they took it to the next level. It's like, so we have this big sci-fi universe, and they go further into it. And then these movies come out, and it's Dawson Creek with aliens. It's like, what the fuck?
I like that. Oh, dude, when you take Adam Brody, or is it? Yeah, it's Alan. No, Brody.
Adam Brody.
Brody.
Oh, you're talking about Predators.
Yeah, Predators. When you take that Brody guy, but you made him like Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's essentially what you tried to make him, was Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I was like,
I concede.
Whoa. Whoa.
But we got to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
And drop something from our sponsor.
And we're back.
And that was quick and easy. It was painless, right?
Very painless.
That's what I'm saying. So we're gonna break it, turn it down just a little notch for you here. I wanted to bring back one more thing, and actually the reason, the whole character creation of my D&D character, White Wolf, is actually based off of Cutter from the ElfQuest series. And speaking of
that series, I loved it.
The graphic novels is what made me think of this. ElfQuest was the place I used to try to get it from all the time. I could never always get the comic.
Remind me real quick. That was a Marvel limited release, wasn't it?
No. That was owned by Wendy and Richard Peeney individually. I think they were like
Marvel distributed it, though.
Maybe they did. Maybe they distributed it. I'd have to look that up.
I think so, because I've seen the books since then, and they are owned by whatever their company is.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I think the first run issues were part of Marvel.
I wouldn't doubt it. But
so was Transformers. And
great, yes. Yes, good call. Very good call. Very good call. Then they weren't too bad.
No,
some of those comics were actually pretty good. I actually like some of the Transformer ones.
When Duke met Optimus Prime, that was great.
Yeah, no.
Talk about crossover.
That was the original crossover right there.
Actually,
crossover that we wanted.
I don't want to go too far in a tangent, but we're trying to play Mike calls me up and is like, "Hey, we're gonna try this Marvel game, the RPG. We're gonna try the Marvel game," and I'm like, "Oh." So can I play any Marvel character I want? Like, well, yeah, you can play any type of character. You can pick your powers and stuff. And I'm like, can I be a Transformer? Silence.
Yeah.
No, you can't be a Transformer. But it's Marvel. No, there's no rules for Transformers.
I think that's fucked up. put Starscream out there, man. Then you'd really have to do the mega damage thing. But
my voice would hurt by the end of that game.
I had to give the big shout out to Red Wendy and Richard Pini because the art. Wendy was the one that did the art.
I think they both wrote it together.
Richard, yeah, they wrote.
And I just love that story.
It's a really great story. I base, even to this day, with the whole talking through the minds thing, I still, my elves are exactly like their world elves, even though it's in D&D.
Well, for the longest time, that's how we thought of elves. It wasn't until later editions of D&D when they started like breaking them off into factions more.
Right.
I mean,
and then they became like these 6'2" slender super warriors, and I've never seen an elf like that. I've always seen an elf like shorter. That's why you always make the jokes. Thunder always makes his short jokes to freaking Whitey because he's
Thunder's my classic character,
right? And just like how I brought up with White Wolf being my character and getting it from this, that's how we've always looked at elves, like just through that, and like this whole how they've evolved to this is just absolutely.
Can we just point out, like, I think looking back on it now, ElfQuest was probably one of the sexiest comics. Just like overall, and I don't just mean by like sexy women elves. I mean like overall, it was just a very very sexy comic.
No, it was,
and the story was so deep.
Oh, the story was phenomenal.
And we all you found the one you liked and you latched onto it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
everybody had their own.
I really liked what was his name? It was he had red hair, I think.
Oh, Pike.
No.
Not Pike?
No.
Not the blue-haired one. The silver-haired one.
He had he had the mate that didn't share their secret name yet. Until they thought they were all going to die.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Not the one with the patch.
Oh, I might have to look it up now.
Yeah, I'm seeing his face. I'm seeing his face, man. No, absolutely. But even I mean, the Tylak, the bird elf, that guy was crazy too.
He was awesome. He was like
really cool character.
Man.
No, that's Skygazer.
Well, he's the one with the silver hair, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And the thing. No, I'm talking. Tylak is the bird guy. He's like got the wings. He's the elf that yep. He's the elf that has the leather. Oops, there goes my soda. He's the elf that has like the leathery wings, kind of like long face. Oh, there you go, breaking them down. So what is it? Sky?
That's it just has their pictures and really have the names on it, but
that's Leela or Lita? Yeah, Lita. Right, and then the dark. That's the whole story. Do yourself a favor and literally look up ElfQuest. And I tell you what,
good we forgot all the characters.
It's funny because I found all my graphic novels the other day. I literally found them all, and I was actually
falling apart and shit.
No,
really?
No, they're solid, dude. If you want,
they got big, solid collectors books now. I was thinking of grabbing
all the hard ones. I even have the one.
Even if this is how good these are. So if you took those comics and you threw them into a novel or something, if you were to just read that book, it's still an amazing story.
No, absolutely.
Can we talk about one of the most iconic villains I think was in that comic book, Two Edge, the half
dude,
elf,
he was great.
Were they orcs or trolls?
They were trolls.
Trolls. Okay, yeah. So he was like half elf, half
troll. Yep. And how it even happened was beyond. It's
brutal.
Just brutal in itself.
It's a brutal story. So if you're uncomfortable with certain things, maybe it's not for you. But God, it was just such a great story. And
Dewshine, Ember, Dart. Hold on. There we go. Sunfolk Elf. So Wolf Rider Elves, Clearbrook Cutter, Dart, Son of Strongbone and Moonshade, Dewshine, Ember, Freefoot, Free Touch, Former Chitter, Fur Fox, Good Tree, Joyleaf. Oh, Joyleaf. I remember. She was one of the first ones that ended up dying. Man Tricker, Mender.
That's the thing in this book too. Like
Moonshade.
Main characters die.
Nightfall, One Eye Pike. You sure it isn't Pike?
It isn't Pike.
I like Pike though. Pike is funny.
Pike was always drunk, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
It definitely wasn't Pike.
Skywise. That's the silver-haired guy. Strongbow. Was it Strongbow?
What the? This is gonna bug me.
Sunstream. Tanner. Timon. Tree Stump. No, Tree Stump was the blonde with the beard. Two Spear. Teelit. Yeah, Teelit was the other one.
Red Lance. I think it's Red Lance.
Red Lance. I think you're right. I don't know. I don't know how I missed that one. Okay then.
Formerly called Red Mark.
Yeah, he's the archer, right?
But him and his mate never like exchanged their like soul names.
No, I remember until the end.
They were about to go to war and they thought they were all gonna die. And she like kisses him, and right before she walks away, she tells him her soul name and just walks away, and he's just like in shock and awe.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason they just didn't want to exchange names.
Yeah, no,
which was a subtle way of them saying they wanted an open relationship. Now that I think about it,
it's actually it's a really good way
because they do take part in the orgy scene.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, it is an absolute great series. I mean, we really just broke it down. When you brought up graphic novels, the graphic novels are beautiful from the covers on it and everything. Do yourself a favor, check them out, give them a like too, because Wendy and Richard Pini, I think they still got it. I don't know if they're still doing anything, but yeah, they definitely have a website. Go give them a visit. They're worth.
I'll find some
really good, just great storytelling.
Yeah, I'll find
just
some
great
links
storytelling
on Amazon. I'll post them in the description.
And if you've never really gotten into comics, if you've never read comics, this is one that is so easy to get into, and the characters are so lovable that you will find yourself turning those pages nonstop. And we're gonna break down what we feel from the comics. Now, back in the day, obviously, the only ways you can get comics were comic book stores
or subscriptions.
Subscriptions, good call, where you'd actually get them mailed to you. Or we had these things called comic cons, where you could actually go out and get back issues and get all the things you might have missed, and possibly meet some of your favorite artists, your favorite writers and sketchers, and I mean some of
the early conventions was really that was how stores got rid of a lot of their stock.
Yes,
just owning the shop half the time wasn't enough.
Exactly, because you didn't get enough traction. No. Let's be honest.
They were buying stuff as well as selling it. So
yes,
if they weren't good at the whole negotiation part, they'd probably take a dive. We had only one comic store.
Yeah,
I think,
Comic Connection
for a year.
Comic Connection.
There was another one though in downtown. It wasn't a comic.
Oh, that's right.
I can't remember the name of it.
That's right. Yeah, but they also did it's also a bookstore too, right? Wasn't it 2 and 2? They did like something. It was just straight comic
bookstore, and they had.
Because I was gonna say the only place I went to was either Sarge's. That was the big one, but you'd have to go out to New London at the time. No, it was Groton. I'm sorry, it was Groton at the time.
Yeah, they were Route 12.
Yeah, it was right off.
Yeah. It was right next to that little seafood shack.
Yes,
so it wasn't
exactly.
Too bad.
Yeah, so that was pretty good because you go get some seafood after you went to Sarge's. But it was either you go to Sarge's or you went to Comic Connection. And like you said, these places were so small, and they just didn't have enough traction that they didn't get the items that you really wanted.
And I think what hurt them too is they didn't fully embrace the tabletop RPG thing till it was too late.
Yes.
Because remember, there was a
they did
point
Magic.
In time,
Magic was big.
Magic got huge, but there was a point in time where we were actually going to stores and trying to talk them into carrying Warhammers.
Yes, and he did it too late.
Yeah, and saying, "Hey, dude, I think this is going to be the next thing. You should really think about it." They just looked at the price tag like, "I know we're going to buy these." I was like, "Dude, we bought hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of this stuff," and they didn't even have Dungeons and Dragons books for the longest time.
No, exactly.
Because they were just they were separate.
That's just it. They literally said to themselves, "I'm a comic book store, and this is all we're selling is comics. We're not going to put anything else into there." Now you have smart hobby shops where they have everything, or gaming stores where they have everything. It's you walk in there and it's tabletop, it's RPG, some places even have video games if they want to be crazy like that. Yep. You know what I'm saying? But it was a stigma to only have comics. And that's when they started doing these, like you said, when you started doing these these conventions, that's when you could get rid of this backstock because you knew hundreds of people.
We knew for the longest time, people that read comics play Dungeons and Dragons, or they play the wartime strategy games.
It's usually hand in hand. Absolutely, absolutely.
And it's like,
if you know Deadpool, you probably played yourself a fucking paladin or an assassin.
And some of these companies were doing comic book based games, so it was like, why are these so separate? Like, comics, only collectors are going to comics. Let's keep it real. I don't,
and even that doesn't work out.
I don't know a casual comic user. I'll keep it real. I don't buy comics anymore. It's casual.
No, I go to the websites now, man. I watch them
digitally. I'll read them digitally.
Yeah,
because I think when the Superman dying thing happened, when he first fought
so
Doomsday,
bad, dude,
and they had those limited issues, and they
just destroyed
so
it. They did the same thing with the with Spider-Man. Remember the limited edition? I think it was the Amazing Spider-Man, where it was done by Todd McFarlane, and it was Spectacular Spider-Man. That's what it was, and he was sitting there. The web of theory or whatever, and he's got the webs all behind him, and they had a metallic cover, a gold cover, a platinum cover, and a black cover, and it was like, dude, if you didn't have them all, it was like you didn't have the collection. It was like, why do I need to have 4 covers of the same comic? And if I read it,
it's ruined.
Which is the reason why I'm getting this. So
you got to buy extra copies if you want to read it.
Exactly.
But then they made too many pressings, and it never gained any value, because the value of anything is in scarcity. So it used to be like they print these big comics, like we're doing a limited, we'll throw out a number, 5,000 run. So those 5,000 comics would be worth something. When Superman died, they printed so many of those.
Yes.
They're easy to get.
That black bag right now, you can still find it for like $5-10.
Yeah, it's easy to get because they made so many of them.
Easy, yeah.
And so that I think that more than anything killed comic books, because let's keep it real. Like, so Hasbro acquired Marvel at one point, I think, and now Disney owns it. But once these big companies start grabbing up these comic book companies, it's just like, no. Sell them all at once.
Sell them all, right? And then 9 times out of 10, that's when you lose a lot of your bigger names, or like we like to say, the smaller names, the lower characters that people don't know so well, that have good stories. I mean,
the only thing though, going back to Eastman and Laird and TMNT, like, they played it smart. So basically, Warner Brothers, I think, Nickelodeon owns TMNT, technically, but Peter Laird retained comic book rights. So he can make comic books whenever he wants. I mean, they have their own little kid comic books that they run.
Right.
But Peter Laird has all the license in the world to do any black and white TMNTs that he wants.
Which is exciting. Because...
It is exciting, because if you watch The Toys That Made Us on Netflix, at the end of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episode, Eastman and Laird finally get together after like 30 years, I think they say.
Yes, dude.
I can't believe it's been that long. I feel old. They get back together, and dude, I almost like choked up. Like, I almost had tears going, because they're sitting there, they're drawing again, and now they're talking about, all right, the people want it, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
They're going to come back with some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles product together, and I'm pretty excited about that.
And that's a lot. That's the biggest thing about, like, with today's Comic Cons and with social media, is being able to access your favorite artists. I mean, it's a reversed thing sometimes. Bashing your favorite artists can go bad, you know what I'm saying? And some of these artists, just like you say, they're very eccentric, and they do take things very personal, very serious, and they will drop out at a drop of a dime,
Yep.
But with these Comic Cons, now you have, heck, freaking cosplay is huge.
I think it's awesome. It's
huge.
Amazing.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, but
I mean, we like it so much, it's in the logo.
Yes.
Which is why we did it that way.
Very true. But, I mean, and some of these people, they're iconic. Like, yes, you do have a lot of WoW cosplay out there, and you have a lot, but the comic book, I mean, we're talking Stacy Gwen, the Spider-Gwen thing, the Black Cats out there. I mean, Wolverine, some of the Iron Mans. You see some of the Iron Mans, people literally make the suit of armor, dude.
I love the guy who made the actual, like, transforming costume of Optimus Prime for his kid there. That's amazing,
dude. I the other day, I know this is not comic, but somebody made a full, and it was 2 of them. There was one that was an Ultramarine, and one that was the yellow guys, Imperial Fists.
You know, it's funny. I want to talk about that real quick, because that's always fascinating me. So you have these people making these amazing Space Marine armor, and then you just sit there and just like, this is some dude who probably works full time, does this part time, does
Yes.
this for fun, maybe with his kids or something. Why the hell can't Hollywood get their shit together and do that?
Yes, exactly. With everything that you have, come on, man, come on. That would just be
I mean,
awesome.
come on. I was like, but big ups. But I love it.
No, anytime. I mean, you get the silly cosplays out there. People obviously just
that just want to dress up as some Japanese
something stupid,
girl
right? Or not even that. I mean, I've seen some really bad ones. Like, wow, dude, did you really think that? It's like you might as well have just went in with like a Wolverine T-shirt than what you're wearing right now.
I mean, I'm pretty lame. I'd probably just throw a trench coat on, smoke a cigarette, and be like Constantine. But
it's not hard, dude. I mean, even if you want, I mean, just throw some freaking Jedi robes on, for crying out loud. There you go. They're a Jedi now. It's not hard. I mean, especially now, the way that fucking people do. Some people just do it and they blow you out the water. So say you want to do like a Loki costume, right? And you're just like, you're super proud of this Loki costume, come rolling in, and this guy just totally did it all out of that pile. I mean, because some of them are.
Go on YouTube. A lot of the videos of them making this stuff is amazing.
It really is, man.
I was following this one person who's working on Wonder Woman's armor. And spent like the first video trying to decide if she was going to use like a plastic or actual metal. Like, can I do it with actual metal? Because you need one that's soft enough, obviously, to mold it. Because you're obviously
and form it.
You're not going to like be like ding. Although I'm sure there's someone.
I'm sure somebody probably will. Yeah, yeah.
So it's like I could never do it.
If you're going to do it, though, look me up. I'll take you to the armor.
You know me, I'm not that artistic, so I print miniatures on paper, people.
I know, that's awesome though. But it's still cool.
Yeah, you come up pretty good. But my first convention, though, I just want to talk about this real quick. The first convention I ever went to was a Star Trek convention.
Oh, that's cool.
I went to one in Hartford. My mom took me, and that was like, talk about like your first experience with cosplay. They didn't really call it that back then.
No,
but
it was dress up.
Yeah, people are wearing like the uniforms from the movies. Next Generation had just really gotten its stride. In fact, Marina Sirtis was there, so I got to see.
And actually, I gotta admit the Next Generation uniforms were pretty slick. I like how they were very
kind of went back. It almost went back to original series, kind of with a simple
design.
Yes, I know Gene Roddenberry did not like the military look of the movie uniforms,
right?
But you know what? Proof's in the results. Everybody liked them. I still do. It's still my favorite.
It's nice. It's great looking uniform. You know what I'm saying? I'm just
coming from like a military family. You've been in the Army for a little bit. You appreciate that style.
No, you do. You do.
Even though the Starfleet's not supposed to be the military.
Right. They're supposed to be exploration.
They're scientific exploratory with big effing guns.
BFGs. Yes, sir. Yes, they are.
But
you ain't joking then.
That was also, we should throw this out, that those conventions used to be the only place you could get prop stuff. So like, because I had a Starfleet logo for years. I don't know what the hell happened to it, but I had it for years, and cost me like $50.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
That was like the only place you could get that now.
Sometimes even like the exclusive action figures and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Pops is really big now. Like the Pops I collect. I don't go crazy over them. I just have my favorite characters. But sometimes they just have.
The Mind Flayer.
I did see that one. That is really cool. That's really cool.
I don't know what it is about the Mind Flayers, but they fuck with me.
Yeah, Mind Flayers are awesome.
Like
that's why I brought them in my campaign.
Sometimes at work, I'll be on Wikipedia looking up the Mind Flayers and just like how they reproduce and stuff. I'm like,
it's parasitic, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, and apparently they've always been in the game, and how did I not notice these things?
Oh yeah, no, they're used for higher level because they're badass, dude.
I was like, this is like the ultimate villain. This is like the ultimate monster. And
no, they really are. We're going on
a little bit of a tangent. We'll talk more about Mind Flayers.
But no, I mean, even now with the comic, with the comic conventions now, it's D&D now. It's comics now. It's everything wrapped up into one pretty bow, right?
Culture, and it's fantastic because it used to be like you got mocked.
Right.
Like if you played D&D, you got mocked. If you like Star Trek, you got mocked.
That's what I said to people. I'm like, now all of a sudden it's so cool to play D&D, and it's like so cool to do this. Like people, we've been doing this forever, right? We've been doing this. The hatred is strong with a lot of people. Trust me. When you found out, hey, you guys were down in that basement fucking until like 2:00 in the morning last night. What happened, man? Playing D&D.
Oh,
you guys, jeez, you dorks, man.
Got to level 12, bro.
Yeah, we're living the dream, bro. Living the dream.
Then, of course, one of them would play one game and then they'd be hooked.
Right, exactly. That was the best part every single time. Like, no, now you go away. Yeah, no, he doesn't ever stop.
Now he can't
what are we playing next? But no,
takes, man.
My first one was comics. It was straight comics, and it wasn't like you said. It was nothing like it is now. Now you go to one, and you go to one of these conventions, and I mean, they have stuff on the outside before you even get into these conventions. You know what I'm saying? Before you even pay the ticketed price to walk to the door, there's the DeLorean from Back to the Future sitting right there that you can get pictures with. Or there's some dude in a whole Darth Vader outfit with fucking Boba Fett right next to him and the whole legion of 501st stormtroopers chilling behind him, you know?
Oh, it's great.
It's just, and it's such an incredible sense for your eyes and the sounds and everything, just taking it all in. And when you first went to one of these, it was like walking into, like, say, the buffet area of, like, your local motel or hotel or whatever it was. And there would be so much space between these tables. It would feel like you're walking a half a mile to get to the next table. And now they just have it, like, they literally have it carved out because there's so many tables and there's so much stuffed in this huge area now. It used to be just this little area, and now it's like it takes up like the big ballroom areas of most of these hotels now. And it's such a great thing. I mean, it's a great thing for people like us who have been reading these comics, who've been enjoying these things for so long, to go here. And like I said, and it's not just us. It's not just the Gen Xers. There's kids up in there, and I know a lot of parents are bringing their kids up on D&D, and a lot of them are bringing them up on some of these comics. And there's some great new faces in the comic book world. Ironheart, which is the female Iron Man. The new Ms. Marvel. She's got I forget what she's.
They're bringing back Ms. Marvel.
Well, she's a kid. Well, she's like 12. I think she's 14 years old, 15 years old, and she has the stretchy arms like Mr. Fantastic, and she's got different powers. But yeah, she is. She's called. It's Miss Marvel instead of Ms. Marvel. It's because she's 15, 16. But no, they have a lot of obviously
little Miss Marvel.
Obviously, Falcon is Captain America now. So there's a lot of really cool things that kids can get attached to and become a part of. And the comic book world isn't afraid anymore to really catch that stigmatism, sort of say. There are gay, superheroes out there, finally, that are very proud of themselves. Obviously, Captain Marvel, one of the biggest ones. She's known to have relationships in the Marvel universe as far as in the comics, and they're starting to like branch it out. But that's been going on there forever.
That's the thing. They've been there. The comics have always been the first ones to tackle, because Peter Parker was molested.
Yes, exactly.
Probably one of the first comics to really touch that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, so far the movies
still to this day, people will be like the Han Solo shot first thing. Like they deny it. They want to deny it, but you can't. It's there, people. Sorry. It's part of the story plot. It's what made Peter Parker Peter Parker. It's some of these things. If Batman didn't see his parents get murdered in front of him, he wouldn't be Batman. Not, no matter how you want to slice it. What made him become that was that stepping point of hopelessness to brought him to that next. You need that bit of story plot. You need that background that makes that character different from everybody else.
What do you think of that arc of, since you brought that up, of where Bruce Wayne survived, or Bruce Wayne died in the attack, and Martha and what's his
not Flashpoint, right? Thomas
Wayne.
Thomas Wayne.
Oh my God, where I guess Thomas Wayne becomes Batman
and she becomes Joker.
What do you think of that?
I think it's a really good, because I told you before, I like the Flashpoint one where it was just Thomas Wayne. He was the only one that survived because Martha died and Bruce died. So he turned into Batman, but he was the Batman with the red eyes and he had the guns.
And he's not nice at all.
No, not nice at all.
Totally
He ended
lost his cool.
Yeah, threw freaking Harley Quinn off the thing the first 5 minutes of this movie. You know what I mean? He's a dick. Straight up dick. But no, this one, I really like the story plot of it because like I said, it's what would happen if that parents do things differently and losing a child. You know what I'm saying? You can't there's no way of actually knowing what it would do to somebody. And think about this, like Thomas Wayne, he still would go to work after mourning his son's death for say, a month or so. He'd go back to work. And then he'd start seeing the evils of this world, and that's what would make him turn to the Batman. Now Martha, she was just a housewife. So she's going to go home.
She was raising Bruce.
Right, exactly.
Basically her.
Right, exactly.
Thing.
She's going to go home and she's going to relive this nightmare every day.
Right.
Every day. And then she's going to just finally snap. So I love it. I love when people think outside the box, which is one of the reasons why I love What If. I love the fact that they're bringing this back. That was one of my favorite comic storylines was What If. They were on point. They took moments and like what if Spider-Man married Black Cat? What a good one that one was.
I'm looking forward to that. Dude. What if
that's
show they're working on? I'm interested to see how that turns out.
Because that was there was another one. What if Eddie Brock was never taken over by Venom and it was like I think it was like one of his other people that was there and it's like they got so many good story plots and they usually wrap it up pretty quick. You know what I'm saying? Like they go right from that point and then it's like switches over and then that is wrapped up. It's not like a 5-part miniseries. Like it's usually done really fast.
All right, we'll be right back to wrap this up.
5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
And we're back again.
Man, we go on forever about this, man. I'll tell you what.
We're going to do a couple quick rapid fire comic things.
Yes.
So, in your opinion, what is the most embarrassing moment in comic book history?
Well, that's a good one. That's a X-Force. I don't understand why we had to have so many belts and so many freaking what was up with that, man? Even the boots had like accessories and stuff on it.
Well, that's when Michael Jackson's wardrobe is used for superhero costume.
I know a lot of people like the Cable character, and he is a dynamic character. And at first, yes. I didn't like him at all. He grew on me, but the rest of them. Wow. That's when they what they were just trying to do is at that point you had X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, X-Men Red, X Factor because that was over.
I forgot about X Factor.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like there were so many X factions going on.
Wasn't that just a TV show on
No, they were.
Was there an X Factor?
Yeah, they were.
Oh, Jesus.
They were over in New England or over in England, dude. Oh, that's where Captain Britain and all those guys were.
There was a point in time where they got a little crazy.
So, and then they hit us with this, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, no, that's embarrassing."
I think Deadpool 2 handled X-Force pretty well.
That's why I love that shit. So awesome because people were like, "Yeah, we're getting X-Force." I was like, "Oh, great, we're getting X-Force."
All right, for me, I've seen this comic. I've read it online and stuff. It was an older comic, but I think the most embarrassing moment in comic book history is when aliens abduct Superman and Muhammad Ali and make them fight.
It's pretty bad.
And I think Muhammad Ali won. I don't remember, but...
Wow, that is pretty bad.
I mean, I don't know.
So the only person who beat Superman is Magic, Kryptonite, and apparently Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali catches Clay.
Okay, that makes sense. I don't
know. It was just like, oh my god, what am I reading? It was like the worst kind of What If, except it was canon.
Oh, that's the worst part because DC will never not make something. Once they write it, it stays out there, no matter how ridiculous it is. Yeah,
it's there. Although there was Marvel DC crossovers that I thought were pretty good.
They were.
That one where they actually reached out to the fans and said, "How does this outcome happen? We're gonna have Batman versus Captain America, Superman versus the Hulk, right?"
Was it the Hulk or was it?
sure it was Superman versus the Hulk.
Or was it? It was Captain Marvel,
No.
right?
Well, Captain Marvel is DC. Well, Shazam.
Yeah, but she's also.
No, I don't think Superman. No, I'm pretty sure it was the Hulk. Superman versus
Yeah,
the
maybe
Hulk.
it was. Yeah.
But and when they actually reached out to the fans and they phoned in who they thought should win, and Marvel was taking it like most of them, except for Superman versus Hulk and a couple other ones. And
Right.
I'm like, you're damn right.
Yeah. No. No.
Superman
Exactly.
cleaned his clock.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is like Superman isn't say a fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like Superman.
Well, he is now.
Well, now
When he lost his powers, Batman taught him how to fight.
Right, exactly. But no, when he was first originally out there, he wasn't. He just
boom.
Yeah, exactly. Punch, and he was reckless, and so is the Hulk. You know what I'm saying? The Hulk, same way, comes rolling in there. Infinity War, when Thanos, lets him get a couple licks in, and then goes, "All right, that's enough, dude." When it turned into an actual fight, and it was strength on strength, now all of a sudden the Hulk didn't have anything. You know what I'm saying? So
actually, I'm gonna push back on that. It wasn't. Because I think at first it was, and then when Thanos was fighting him, he's like, I'm gonna have to be a little more slick. Because when you're watching Thanos fight him, he's using some kind of martial arts type stuff.
Oh yeah,
he's taking in shots on the Hulk, so he switched his style up.
Oh, absolutely.
To fight the Hulk.
That's what I'm saying. You could see that he was like when he first came out, he's like, oh, okay then.
I see what this is, and then he just came in and he's like, boom, 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 and like, wow.
Yeah, gave him that little rib shot, and he was like, boom, took the air out of him.
Yeah,
like, damn, he took the air out of the Hulk. What the fuck? Yeah.
When I first saw that, and it's just like, holy cow, guy can fight. Like he's not just.
No, they did Thanos good.
Yes.
They did him justice. They did it justice. So what do you got for the next one?
Let's see. What we did most. What's the best moment in comics? Like, what do you think? Either in terms of story,
Civil War.
Yeah,
I love the Civil War. The movie didn't do it any justice. Obviously. There was a new mutant that he blew off his powers, and it ended up causing a huge explosion and killed I think it was an entire school of children, and that was in Stamford, Connecticut.
Yeah,
and it went off to all these different X-Men, Captain America, and all these different things, and they were trying to put all the mutants and all the special people under wrap and they had to get registered and all this stuff, and Captain America didn't want it, and Iron Man did, but there was a lot, like the Punisher was involved. Oh, dude, it was wow, what a great. I mean, I love the Infinity War. I did, and that was the first time, like I said, where they made you buy different comics from different. You had to go all over the place, but Civil War did it right, and they didn't go too far out of the way, and they made it short enough where you didn't spend a shit ton of money, but it was a great storyline, and you had to really get those comics, and I loved.
No, it was great because there comes a time when it's like, well, you have all these heroes, and there's going to come a certain point where they're not going to agree, or they're going to fight with each other. Mm-hmm. I think DC tries this with Injustice, Gods Among Us, which is a good one.
No, they did a good job. I really like that story plot.
I won't say it's better than Civil War, though.
I mean, what made Superman go
right?
I mean, what a great fucking.
But I think for me, I think the peak had to be the World's Finest storyline when Lex Luthor becomes president.
Oh yeah, that was a good line. That was a good storyline.
Batman and Superman are essentially on the run because costume superheroes are illegal.
Yeah,
I think that was the best because I think that's where the two of them together really shine.
Yes, well they do they
and up to that point they were just kind of you're a goody
butting heads.
You're a goody two shoes. Oh, you're
butting heads and a certain. You're a Boy Scout and you're a lost dad. You're an orphan. That's what they always call him, a rich orphan.
Rich. What's the word I'm looking for?
It's not snooty.
When you take justice in your own hands.
Oh, vigilante.
Vigilante. Oh my God, doing bad today. So I think
he's,
up to that point, it's just Superman saying you're a vigilante, you're a Boy Scout, and I think that series is where they really both discover that you need a little bit of
both, right?
And Superman understands, I need someone in the underground, nose to the ground,
right?
doing the things I can't do,
stuff that I can't do or
Exactly.
won't do. Exactly.
you know.
Yes.
And I think at that point, Superman learned sometimes I think that I just need to look away.
Yes. Good idea, buddy.
So I think that storyline is DC's peak with those two. You got the two best properties.
Yes.
No
doubt. Comes to DC, those are two of the hottest names besides Wonder Woman, just because of the movies recently. But Batman, Superman, hottest names in DC, hands down. I mean, Joker too. Obviously, you can just say Joker.
We've talked about this at length, and I said the only proper way you're going to really get the DCU back in line is to do a World's Finest series. There's
no,
you're
right.
To do it.
No, you're right. You're right.
Either do another Man of Steel, give Henry Cavill a fucking decent script to work with, or give him a decent movie. And then if you want to really reboot the team, you're going to need that World's Finest.
Yes,
because they launched Justice League way too early.
No, we barely knew the characters. Hell, I mean, they just kind of threw the Flash at us.
Yeah,
he was just like, "Here, I'm Barry." You know what I'm saying? At least we had Aquaman right after Justice League. You know what I'm saying?
Which was good. I liked it.
So it kind of worked out because we got to learn a little bit. But it was like that and Cyborg and Flash. It was just like, here they are. Okay.
Well, they were trying to ride Marvel's coattails.
It was too late at that point.
Well,
that shit was a comet already taken off, bro.
Here's the thing: if they were smart, you didn't have to. You could have done your slow burn because Infinity War came and went.
Now people are they're hungry for rich story.
You had the Spider-Man movie come out, which was decent.
Yeah.
Now you have Sony's doing their Venom Morbius thing. You could have kept your slow burn. People are going to be like, all right, well, Marvel's kind of regrouping. What's DC doing? So you could have taken.
You could have been on fire right now. They could have been like,
"Ooh,
what's this over here?"
Because at this point, you could be like, if they didn't blow it with Batman v Superman and had Doomsday, you could have started working on that, or like I said, World's Finest
and Doomsday,
Return of the Dark Knight, whatever, stuff like that.
Mutated love clone.
You know what he looked like? What was that clone of a Ninja Turtle in the TV show? I forgot what his name was. He was all like,
oh my.
You remember that one? I think I had the toy at one point.
That's horrible, man. He's like Toxic Avenger.
It's like he actually looked like if Miss Piggy and Kermit had a baby.
Yeah.
Like oh my god, it's so much.
What's happening? Yeah, just put me down in the pain and the suffering. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up for you. Make sure you guys are going to all of our affiliates and follow that website. We're tossing around a joke of maybe doing a Facebook page.
Yeah, we might
because people tend to talk more.
We do have the forums on the website. We're thinking of just making a Facebook group, completely game miniature centric, anything you want.
Yeah, and next week we got a new special edition for you guys. We're gonna break down a couple character classes, one from D&D and one from the Palladium system, and we're going to tell you...
We're going to compare them, and we'll probably do a series of episodes
like
that.
We'll see if you guys like it. If it hits off pretty good, we'll follow up with it. So, as always, make sure you guys are leaving those comments. Make sure if you are on Apple Podcast, you give us
Stitcher,
those...
you can do reviews.
Oh, Stitcher too now. So, Stitcher and Apple, please leave those reviews. Those are big. Those are gold for us. Nothing else right now counts for those. Anything else for our Patreon donors and everything else out there. We don't have a Patreon. Oh, that's right. We don't have that.
You can donate to Anchor.
You can to Anchor directly if you would like to do that and do so if you love what we're giving you for content. And as always, if you want to hear something special or if you have a special show that you'd like us to touch on, leave them comments. We're always welcome to take it on, and we're still looking for those Pathfinder players, and we're still looking for those Delta Green players out there. So hit us up.
Or any Arkham Horror.
Yes.
If you want to touch on that. So,
yes.
And we got some content for the website in the pipeline. We're in talks with an author.
Really excited about that.
Really great material, just kind of unloaded on us.
Yeah.
So we'll probably touch that on the show, and we'll have some posts on the blog.
Yeah, and it's going to be awesome moving forward, people. We love it so much, and thank you for your support, and we hope you love what we're doing for you.
All right. Good night.
And have a great one.